then leave. This is always the solution I have to people when they say that they don't want to be an American. There are plenty of countries that are waiting for you with either open arms or ready to give you an open neck. You choose which struggle you want. Next line. Pause. Everybody wants to be Harriet Tubman. What do you mean you're not free? You're free to put this clownery out there on the internet, and the face that she's making right there, that's exactly how I feel hearing this. I'm sick of these people sitting here acting like they're not free. You are free to go. You're free to put this BS online, go live somewhere where you're not even free to show your hair, and then come back and tell us that you're not free in America. And I won't forgive the men who lied and pause. She cooked there. Men do lie a lot. I have no further comment on that. Let's keep going. Nobody has taken your rights away. The only thing that has been taken away is the elements of discrimination that were being used in our federal government. Okay, the fact that being black or you decided to change your gender because the weather told you that you're a girl that day, like those privileges are finally going away. We're back to merit. We're back to the principles that our country was founded upon, except it's more equal now than it even was then. You talking about standing up against the throne, girl? You need to go kneel to the throne and repent and find God. That's what you need to do. And curse her to this day, 'cause there ain't no doubt I used to love this land, but God, the USA. I don't think it's F the USA. I think the USA is already effed, and it's because of people like you who don't realize the amount of privilege that you're soaking in every single day in this country, and you decide to continuously play the victim and continuously act like you're not free and equal in this country. And girl, it's tired, it's late, it's packed. Hang it up. You want to be Harriet Tubman.
Xavier, kicking it off today with our very own Xavier DeRusso here at PragerU, giving reality regarding that ashamed to be an American video that went viral several weeks ago. We have these parent alerts, so all of us, you know, I say like middle-aged parents bringing up children, raising children, we have these parent alerts so all of us can keep up with what's going on. That video, of course, is from TikTok. It circulated online. It went viral. We know as parents that this ashamed to be an American trend is so very ridiculous. Thank you to Xavier's reality check. Please share his reaction with your teens so that they can have the wherewithal to understand what is actually truthful when they see all of these viral videos about how awful America is online. So with that, I say welcome to Parent Alert, everybody. Welcome to Parent Alert by PragerU Kids. We're looking at Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. I'm Jill Simonian. I'm a mom of teens. I'm the co-creator at PragerUKids.com. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Rumble, X today. Drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. The big headline and question today is, and I'm asking you parent to parent, can America survive with an unpatriotic generation? Dun, dun, dun. I'm acting silly. This is not silly. This is actually very serious stuff that I'm talking about. Can America survive with an unpatriotic generation? We're going to discuss. In the meantime, if you have not already, subscribe for free to PragerUKids.com, kindergarten through 12th grade, videos, worksheets, lesson plans, free, wholesome lessons that teach children knowledge, life skills, history, tons of faith-based content too, things to educate them with the knowledge to understand that we are in a nation that is blessed, that is always working towards a more perfect union so that we can be proud to unite as Americans together through our faults, despite our differences. We talk about good character, grit, resilience. I'll share with you some things later on in the show. Of course, there's a lot going on in Los Angeles right now. But before I get into the actual headline about can America survive an unpatriotic youth, I gotta recognize there's a ton going on in Los Angeles right now this week. We've got riots against deportation of illegal immigrants. But as a mom, graduation is on my mind these days. Through all of this, we watch the news. It's very complex. We all have opinions. I'm not gonna get into the weeds of it, because graduation is on my mind these days as a mom of teens. Because how young people feel about our nation is really demanding my attention in the most focused way. The reaction and riots, I think, against law enforcement, and I personally do believe they're organized, that's my personal belief. is rooted in this deeply planted trend of anti-Americanism that's really been growing within our own education system, kindergarten through 12th grades. It's a big problem. I went to a high school graduation ceremony this last weekend of an extremely elite, prestigious, very expensive kindergarten through 12th grade school here in Southern California. I'm not going to tell you what school it is. Extremely prestigious. I think the tuition now, I don't know for a fact, but I think the tuition for this school hovers around $50,000 a year. There's smart kids that go there. Very accomplished parents, successful families, again, sought after. A history in Southern California of over 100 years. It's a famous private school. The ceremony, graduation ceremony, and I was sitting in the back, but it started with a land acknowledgement. I have the program here. Ta-da. Program's right here. Land acknowledgement. It started with a land acknowledgement. And it was given by one of the high school seniors informing us, and I wish I recorded it. I took notes because I actually texted my sister about what was going on. And her ironic response as a teacher in one of the few non-unionized school districts in California, her response was, "What's a land acknowledgement?" And I went forward to explain to her in real time on my text that the land acknowledgement that this graduation ceremony of this elite private high school kicked off with was to inform us that we were all standing on stolen land of the Tongva people here in Southern California, and that they are the rightful owners of the land in the past, during the present, and for the future. I have no idea if this young person who gave this land acknowledgement at the beginning of this graduation ceremony was Native American at all. They did not appear to be. And this is I want to say this. Let me be clear. I have the utmost respect for Native Americans. I always have. You'll see it throughout our PragerU Kids content and how we talk about how the Native Americans have taught so many settlers everything about how to live. So that's very clear in all of our content, and especially in our unboxed episodes. We always recognize that Native Americans lived on this land before settlers came in. And yes, there were conflicts, and yes, it was tough. I have no idea if, this young person who gave this land acknowledgement at the beginning of the graduation ceremony was Native American. But I do know that there was no national anthem. There was no Pledge of Allegiance. There was no mention. There was no prayer. I know that, most schools don't do prayers these days. But there was the land acknowledgement. And the ceremony kicked off. As someone sitting there watching it, the ceremony kicked off not in a way to unite us all as Americans sitting there to celebrate these high school graduates, but it kicked off to deliberately divide us and instruct us to feel guilty, ashamed, angry, and divided. And the goal was to make everyone feel ashamed to be American. And that was a problem for me. That was a problem for me. Let's take a look back into the headline now of what we're talking about here on Parent Alert. Let's take a look. Drop a comment. I'll say this before I go in. Drop a comment if you have attended a graduation ceremony that kicked off with something that was anti-American, anti-patriotic, something that you just kind of felt like accosted and attacked and ashamed for just being there and watching. Okay, I'm looking for comfort here because we know that this is happening across the nation and it's really sad. And now I want to get into the Gallup poll from last year, 2024, citing the record number of young Americans who are not proud of being American. And here we go right now. This is from Gallup. American pride remains near record low. And if you scroll down into the article, it cites 2 in 5 Americans, 41%, say that they are extremely proud to be an American. Yay. The 5th consecutive year this reading has been in the 38% to 43% range. Another 26% of U.S. adults say they are very proud, also in line with recent years. The 67% combined share of Americans who are extremely proud or very proud is consistent with readings since 2018 and among the lowest in Gallup's trend. Just 4 percentage points above the record low of 63% in 2020, a low of Americans not feeling patriotic. From 2001 through 2017, no fewer than 75% of U.S. adults said they were extremely or very proud, including majorities who were extremely proud. So we've seen a decline in people who have been cited, said they are proud to be Americans. This is a significant decline. I want to show you another graph I found. This one from Statista. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I look these things up. Statista from September 2024. And this graph was easy for me to read, which is why I want to show you. According to a survey, 21% of those between 18 and 34 years of age in 2024 considered themselves extremely proud to be American. 21%. And you can see that on the graph there. In contrast, taking a look, if you're watching live now, about half of respondents, 55 and older, considered themselves extremely proud to be American. Now, I am not 55 years old, but I myself, hand raised, fall into that category of people. So this is disappointing to say the least. It's not a surprise. We talk about this all the time. This is one of the original whys of why we started PragerU Kids back in 2021. And we always say, well, why is this happening? Why? We know why this is happening. Our education system, unfortunately, is why record numbers of Americans, particularly the young generation, do not feel proud to be American. They are unpatriotic. They are no longer being taught our shared history. They're being taught how to divide themselves and labeling it as inclusivity. This is not new. I talk about this every single time on Parent Alert. If you're a repeat watcher, you're probably tired of me talking about it. But it is not hyperbole to recognize and continue to understand and remind ourselves that Marxist ideology has infected America's youth with an obsession that we are more different than we are alike. We have become a fractured nation with amnesia. This is a big problem. It should concern every single American, no matter what your opinions. It doesn't matter if you and I think the same on, a variety of topics. This should concern each and every one of us. Given that this is the next generation of leaders, think about the military. The last year or so, I think the numbers are up now, but the last year or so, the military recruitment has been in extreme crisis, record lows. National security issue. I think the numbers are going up now, the last several months, from what I've heard. I don't want to ignore, according to the latest data from the National Assessment of Educational Progress, this is the organization that, again, tests 8th graders nationwide for proficiency in all sorts of subjects. History scores stand at the lowest recorded level since this assessment began in 1994. Civics, also not doing very well. 14% of students hit the proficient mark in history, and only 22% did in civics. Those are recent numbers. I think I also saw one stat that cited that 4 in 10 Zoomers, Gen Zers, Zoomers they call them now, 4 in 10 Zoomers say that America's founding fathers are better described as villains than heroes. This is not funny. I don't know what else to do anymore because this is so serious. Check this out from the National Center for Education Statistics. In 2022, 13% of 8th grade students performed at or above the proficient level on the U.S. history assessment, 2 percentage points lower compared to 2018. not significantly different from the first assessment they did in 1994. 60% of 8th grade students performed at or above the NAEP basic level in 2022, which was 6 percent points lower in 2018. 1%, 1% of 8th grade students performed at the advanced level, having an understanding of our history. Very few schools are teaching our children why America was founded, who America is, and the security that America offers for all of our future, no matter who you are, what you believe in. Instead, students are being taught to focus on land acknowledgments, like the graduation ceremony I went to last weekend. Instead, students are being taught to reject the notion that the United States is a leader and a beacon for freedom and opportunity. So how can a generation that doesn't know their nation's history, I just took you through the basic statistics, the basic findings of how well or how unwell students understand civics and history. How can a generation that does not know their nation's history or how the country functions, civics, take pride in being an American? They can't. We know this as parents. There's that claim floating around the internet. You know, as a mom, I sometimes go online and I type all sorts of things into Google and I search because I'm just curious, right? So there's that claim that's floating around the internet that talks about how empires begin to decline at the 250-year mark. We should all be, paying attention to this as America enters its 250th year this next coming year. July 4th, 2026, we know will be America's 250th birthday. PragerU is doing all sorts of amazing things with America's 250. We have a really cool thing happening at the White House in the next 2 weeks, actually, a display of, I call it a living history display of our American Revolution and the founding fathers, not depicting them as villains, although they were flawed individuals, but it really depicts them for the courageous, prolific, brilliant people they were. That's a side note. But again, back to the claim that empires do not last past the 250-year mark. Out of curiosity, I Googled this. I looked into it. I thought, let's look at the facts here, or is this just like a viral internet thing? Google says, of course, that it's more than a myth than it is a fact. Okay, fine. Relief, right? Whew. But it did cite some chilling warnings that have historically preceded the collapse of empires, and I'm going to take you through them now. So, economic instability, overextension, inflation, resource depletion, cultural decay, internal strife, religious divisions, declining morale, environmental threats, resource scarcity, natural disasters, political unraveling, corruption, rebellions, ineffective leadership. All of these things have historically contributed to the decline of empires around the 250-year mark. I'm reading the news. I'm looking at the riots happening against law enforcement, upholding the law, and I can't help but say, are we there yet? Are we there? I ask you, drop a comment. That's a bad joke. But seriously, if we're not there already, I ask now as a mom, is there still time to turn this course around? Because if you're a parent or a teacher who knows what's happening firsthand in our schools, I don't know about you, but I personally refuse to accept the demise of our shared American values. I'm not going to accept the demise of our freedoms and our future. I reject that the idea of this blessed, great experiment in liberty has run its course. I'm not going to tolerate it. In schools that are now in session, June, as we know, is celebrated as Pride Month, right? With our youngest learners, by the way. There's kindergarten, first grade, second grade lessons all about pride in schools that are still in session now in June. Adults can celebrate pride all you want. I don't have an issue. You're a grown-up. You can celebrate anything you want at all times, right? But what purpose does that serve in schools with little kids to divide them based on something that they don't even really understand yet? June used to be used in schools to focus on something else. Do we know? Drop a comment if you know what June 14th is, the date, the official date as recognized by our American government. Drop a comment if you know what June 14th is and what schools used to teach children about June 14th. I'm going to give you a hint. Roll it. Roll the video right now, Jace. I'm going to give them a hint.
Now, what are these? American flags? I don't know about that because this one has 13 stars and this one has 15 stars and our American flag, Otto, has 50 stars. So these cannot be American flags. Are you sure they're American flags? Yes, they are. Well, should I read our story and find out if these are American flags?
Yes, read the story because guess what? Today is Flag Day. Well, June 14th is Flag Day. The story is, that's a clip from our PragerU Kids Otto's Tales Storytime series with accompanying books that we have for our youngest learners, kindergarten through second graders. It's Otto's Tales. Today is Flag Day. Flag Day, of course, is June 14th, and every single kindergartner and first grade and second grader and all the way up through high school, I'm going to argue, should know and understand what Flag Day is. Drop a comment, raise your hand, give me applause if you agree. Ask any child about our flag. This is a challenge, actually. Ask any child about our flag. And unfortunately, I would wager that very few can answer basic questions. What does the red stand for? What does the white stand for? What does the blue stand for? Tell us something you know about our flag. How many stars did it used to have? How many stars did it have when Francis Scott Key wrote our national anthem, which does unite all of us, by the way? How many stars does our flag have now? Are they still teaching this in school? Not many schools that I've seen, there is not a concentrated effort to teach this in our schools. What does the red stand for? Drop a comment if you know. What does the white stand for? Drop a comment if you know. I'm going to give you another. I'm going to answer the questions. Roll the next clip. This is part of our story time for today is Flag Day. Roll the next clip. I'm going to answer questions.
Betsy added, the flag started with 13 stars on that date. Dennis shouted, that's because at the time, there were only 13 states. I barked, the big red stripes on the flag look so nice. Betsy said, red symbolizes our nation's courage and sacrifice. Dennis asked, what's the rectangle in the corner and why is it blue? Betsy responded, blue represents justice for all, including me and you. I said, you'll know why there are white stars and stripes, of that I am sure. Betsy replied, the color white reminds us to always be pure. I barked, over time, our country grew at a very fast pace. One day, that flag will have 50 stars on its face.
50 stars, that's the reason why. Yeah, most of us parents and teachers do understand the history of our flag, but think about it. If our children do not understand the shared history, there is no way that they will even have the understanding or inkling to protect who we are as Americans when they are young adults. One of our most, I can't say this enough, one of our most sacred responsibilities is to teach our children who America is, what she stands for, why she matters, and how they can carry America's ideals into the future. United we stand, divided we fall. This is not rocket science. Because if they don't learn it, they're not going to remember it. And there's no other choice for us parents than to start young. Teach the good about America first, before you teach about all the things that we need to make better. And yeah, there's a heck of a lot that we need to make better, but teach the good first. We have the books. We have the story times. We have all the resources, most of them free, on PragerUKids.com to give you the resources so that we are not going to graduations in the future that completely abandon who we are as Americans. Flag Day is June 14th to unite us. It is the most inclusive flag there is, because without memory, a nation is at risk. I think we've heard Dennis Prager say that many times, and we say that often at PragerU Kids. Without memory, a nation is at risk. If our children do not start understanding the foundations of America, we will cease to have a country in the future. And that's my message to you today, because I think that the answer to my question is, as terrible as this is to say, I do not think that America can survive more generations of unpatriotic young people. It's that simple. And I don't mean to be doom and gloom, but it's that, what other path is there? We've seen the knowledge of our history and civics decline every single year. Now we are seeing a further decline now of Gen Z, citing that they are unpatriotic. It's scary. It's scary. Without memory, life, whether that of an individual or nation, will cease to exist. So happy Flag Day, June 14th, to all of you and your families. I think that's it for us on PragerU Kids today. Subscribe to PragerUKids.com for free. We have new releases delivered to your inbox for your kids. Do not miss an episode. U.S. and world history, American values, good character, civics, financial literacy, links to all of our videos. Particularly for Flag Day, for our youngest learners, the link is in the description of this parent alert. Our new book series, Trailblazers, I think it's still best-selling on Amazon, actually, and we're so proud of it. Do we have a trailer for that? For middle school, I'm talking about the younger ones, teaching them patriotism. There's also a really perfect way to teach our middle readers patriotism too, to show them who the heroes were who helped America expand. We are so proud of this Trailblazers of America book series. Actually, yes. Okay, I want to play the trailer right now before we go. Let's play the trailer for you. I'm going to share it with you again.
America is a country for the bold and the brave. We are a nation of fighters and dreamers. Our ancestors not only defeated their competition, but also chased destiny across a wild continent. They traveled into unknown wilderness, crossed plains and mountains, and tamed a dangerous frontier. Trailblazers of America is a 7-part book series from PragerU Kids that tells the remarkable true stories from the lives of 8 fearless men who dreamed big and dared to be great. Daniel Boone, Johnny Appleseed, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark, Davy Crockett, John C. Fremont, John Sutter, and Bass Reeves. As America grew from sea to shining sea, these trailblazers and their adventures shaped a new nation's borders and its spirit. The incredible stories can be found at PragerU.com and on Amazon. Shop now.
That's right. We love our Trailblazers of America. And I will say this. So with the youngest learners, I shared with you Flag Day. Teach them about the founding fathers, the origins of our flag, what everything means. But for the middle readers, I personally think it's just as important to teach elementary school, middle school, even high schoolers, the heroes that existed to help expand America through grit, risk-taking, hard work, against all odds. These are heroes. We do not want to raise and teach our children to have any sort of misconception that these brave men and women of the time, in many cases, we don't want them to think that they were villains. Earlier in this, I cited that many Gen Zers regard the founding fathers as villains. No, they were brilliant, prolific men. These trailblazers of America, also brilliant, prolific men. Were they flawed? Yeah. Not all parts of our American history are pretty. No, yes, of course I'll add. But it's on us to learn about those time periods. It's on us to understand, to improve so that America continue to be a leader and a beacon for freedom and prosperity. So teach your children to be proud to be an American. It's not going to automatically happen. We have to do it. It's one of our greatest callings to pass down our legacy so that the children can understand what America is. The good, bad, and all the conflicting parts, but to ultimately be proud to be American so that they can protect and defend the country in the future. Without memory and appreciation for who we are and who we can become, we will not have a country left. So we have all the resources for you. Thank you. We're out of time. Thank you for all of your support. We can't do any of this without you. Subscribe to PragerUKids.com for all of these new resources into your inbox to stay updated with what we have happening here, to continue to raise our children to be proud Americans. We cannot continue this trend and decline of unpatriotism. We won't survive. We won't survive. All right. Thank you always. See you all next time. Take care. Happy Flag Day.